Somebody was just talking to me about somebody who is collecting Social Security. He was at a meeting and he asked, who here is getting government benefits? And everybody at the meeting was getting government benefits. Everybody. And some of them was just getting Social Security, and they said, well, yeah, but I paid into that. I earned that. Well, we show you that in their rules, you have no earned right to any payment from Social Security. And Social Security has been bankrupt from the beginning. It has never been a solvent fund because the Supreme Court ruled right out of the box, and again in the 60s, and we have all that quoted on the website. You can go look up Social Security. You can go look up Corbin. You can go look up all these things. And we show you the actual records that Social Security was bankrupt from the beginning. As a matter of fact, they started it because the government was bankrupt and it needed a greater surety for the debt. It had run out of assets, and the Federal Reserve was withholding, loaning money until you had more assets. So they added a new asset, you. And they numbered the asset because you got to count your assets, right? You got to make an accounting of them. And they had opposition to this because some people actually know how the legal system works. I've been put in a place because of my own personal history, my own background. I was being moved in this as a chess piece of God before I was born. My father was summa cum laude, attorney, highest scorer on the Texas bar exam, speaking in front of the American Bar Association. And he understood how the system worked. And he knew there was a corruption to it. And when I finally began to write the first book, Covenants of the Gods, I took the first chapter to him and said, what do you think? And he said, I was right. I was really surprised, but it was the way in which he said I was right. After studying it in great detail, he says, but they're not going to like you. I think my father knew it from the beginning, but he didn't know what to do with it. But he followed out where God put him, and that allowed him to help God put me where I needed to be. And so, I have given that license to my own children to follow where God is allowing them to go. And I do the same with you. I know you cannot have a free society unless you extend freedom to your neighbor. You cannot create a free society by forcing your neighbor to contribute to your welfare. All the money that you contributed to take care of the needy of society in your Social Security payment has been used up to take care of the needy of society. It is not on deposit for you. That's what you should have been consecrating as a sacrifice and a free will offering to take care of the needy of your society. When America was becoming great, we were doing that everywhere. My own great-great-grandfather, I have to go back a ways, was helping slaves escape in the Underground Railroad. And he suffered persecution because of that. He was kicked out of his church because he did that. They got into another church that thought that was okay. So, and his father had died on the missions, because he had been kind of kicked out of the same church and then let back in because he went and joined the Virginia Regiment during the American Revolution. So we have a long history of getting kicked out of churches. And so the idea of telling you can't go to a church or you can't do this or you can't do that, I want you to understand the principles, and I want you to come and seek those principles and strive towards those principles of righteousness as your personal choice, because we cannot have a free society. It's not the perfect law of liberty unless we extend that liberty to others.